substantially, we are going to see more export going to increase. That's number one. But number two, and very important, is that there will be a diversification of the markets of African countries, and for Tanzania in particular, where we will now have an opportunity to increase the wider range of commodities that we are selling to the Chinese market, meaning agricultural products, meaning industrial products, and processed goods. That means removing tariffs gives an opportunity for African countries. Remember, these are only 53 countries. There's one country, for some reasons, it has been kept aside. But now the market's open for 53 countries to export to this market, which means it's going to increase incentives that is going to open up rural economies for these countries, not necessarily Tanzania, but for Malawi, Zambia, Burundi, Malawi, Zambia, Mozambique, any African countries that want to export to the Chinese market. Meaning, with this removal of the tariffs, is going to increase now foreign direct investments. That is going to come to these countries because of the labor market. African countries are said to have ample opportunity to have ample labor, which can fit very well to suffice the need of the market which the Chinese have opened to Africa.
And Dr. Hildebrand, with what you just explained, from now a competitive standpoint, is Tanzania really logistically ready, and in terms of production capacity, and to be able to meet the scale of demand in the Chinese markets?
Well, looking into what Tanzania have done so far, investment that has gone to infrastructure projects, let it infrastructure in terms of power, infrastructure in terms of logistics, infrastructure in terms of transportation, meaning air transportation, railway transportation, and road improvements, is going to allow countries that depends on Tanzanian the geographical location to power the economy. Remember, Tanzania has got this God-given opportunity to have our port, which is serving more than 560 landlocked countries. Now, investment that has gone in on the ground is going to open up the opportunities for countries, for example, for Tanzania, to be able to capitalize on this removal of taxes. And the government in place has done a lot. We have to appreciate that. So it is what is remaining is how we can organize ourselves, see the opportunity, and seize it, because the market needs good quality. The market needs high standard qualities. So in a way, it's going to open up a challenge, but a challenge which is also an opportunity to increase competition among the producers to be able to fit into the market.
And Dr. Hildebrand, how could this tariff removal now complement broader continental trade ambitions under the Africa Continental Free Trade Area and the African Union agenda for economic integration?
One thing which is very key, African countries have been producing raw materials that has been sent to the developed world or to China. But now, with the removal of the tariffs, is giving opportunity for African nations to think back, to see what they need to do in place in order to create opportunity for employment, opportunity to widen tax base, opportunity to make sure that countries' competitive advantage, what we call comparative advantage, together with the coordination, these countries can seize the opportunity that has been opened to them by the China. Because China is opening up this, knowing Americans are also coming up with their trade constraints that is hindering some other countries from accessing the American market. So China has the market, and it is timely. It is now left for African countries. And for Tanzania, that has had a good relationship with China, to seize this opportunity. It is time for us. If we don't make use of it, then we will be blaming ourselves. But China have opened the market. It is how we align with the Chinese government. We align by international standards. We position ourselves to be able to take this opportunity and to increase our export.
Now, Dr. Hildebrand, to just wind up, looking ahead, what concrete policy action now should the Tanzanian government take to ensure that we actually seize this opportunity towards reaching DIRA 2050 vision?
Well, within DIRA 2050, the government led by Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan has strategically and aligned its vision to ensure that Tanzania coming 2050, we are going to be a middle-income country. What that means is that the country is aligned and is positioned to ensure we add value to some of the products. We have comparative advantage. Instead of exporting jobs, now we are exporting value-added goods that goes to the market. That means, apart from creating jobs for the young people who are graduating from school, colleges and all that, we are going to increase our foreign earning in terms of dollar, in terms of yen, in terms of euro, but in terms of how we can bring in foreign currency. But also we are going to help the government, or the government is going to help itself to widen the tax base. That will be able to help the government to fund the public goods that mostly are not funded by the private sector. So the government under Vision 2050, which is very clear, I've gone through it, I know it by pages, is a document that shows if we can align and stick to the commitment made in it, we are going to be a different country. We are going to make Tanzania a powerhouse economy for the region.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hildebrand, for the explanations that you have provided. On to the next story. According to projections by the World Bank, by 2035, the global labor force is expected to reach 1.2 billion people. However, only about 400 million jobs may be available, potentially leaving nearly 800 million people without formal employment. In Tanzania, a growing number of young people are making positive strides in shifting towards becoming job creators rather than job seekers. Esther Deus has more details.
While the unemployment projection paints a worrying picture for many young people, becoming a job creator is no longer just an option, it is a necessity. TBC News visited a 25-year-old, a Tanzanian entrepreneur who is transforming the agriculture sector through coffee production and logistics services. Through his initiative, he has created value across the supply chain while employing more than 50 fellow youth.
In those old years, it has normally been believed and known that beautiful offices like this and successful businesses are owned by old people. But today, I want to tell you, I'm here standing. It's a 25-year-old entrepreneur owning this, and he took a bold step in creating value in agriculture and logistics by employing himself and creating opportunities for other youth. Follow me to know more about his journey.
The story comes beyond how I've been inspired to open up a coffee company, more of roasted coffee. Like it's a value-added company, whereby it began back in the G25 summit, which was held last year in January. And from there, from our country as Tanzania, we had our president, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, where she advocated for more on value addition. And so I took it as an opportunity. And by September last year, we opened up our first coffee shop where we are making value addition through this coffee. Once it comes to more of our fellow youths, M1 has been a space of youths coming to connect, but also creating jobs for our other fellow youths who are being employed by M1. So it's one of the significances that we have placed so far.
On the other hand, David Muhunzi, Marketing and Communication Officer at Tanzania Startup Association, says in the country, the startups are not only merely a trend, but a crucial solution in shaping an inclusive and sustainable job market for the next generation.
So Tanzanians should have the mindset that they have to be prepared for the future of work. They should not wait up to this crisis happen by having the mindset of the startup development, and they're trying to figure out to create jobs, and they're not only relying on being employed either by the government or by the other sector.
As the future of employment continue to evolve rapidly, innovation, creativity, and sustainable startups may prove to be more than just alternatives, but the foundation of an inclusive job market for the next generation. Esther Deus, TBC News.
We are joined again with Dr. Hildebrand Shayo. Dr. Shayo, as you heard, World Bank says by 2035, the global labor force is actually expected to reach 1.2 billion people. However, only about 400 million jobs may be available, potentially leaving nearly 800 million people without formal employment. So, Dr. Hildebrand, what is the best way to actually face such a dilemma nationally and individually?
Well, personally, I have seen the report. I went through it, and I was wondering 1.2 million jobs opportunities, out of which only 400 million will be available for jobs, but 800 million will be left without jobs, which means we need now to think as a country in terms of region, what are we going to do with these 800 million people who cannot afford to get jobs? Now, when I look at it, and as an economist and analyst, I look there are two ways. One, agriculture sector. Agriculture sector is one of the engines that employs majority of the people, not necessarily to Tanzania, but across the African countries. So it's a sector which currently either is underutilized or under-mechanized. So you will find we have gaps there. But if we can capitalize on the agricultural sector, we are going to see an opportunity coming up, which can allow these countries to be able to attract young people to see the value of getting involved in the agricultural sector. In Europe and elsewhere, they say people who are rich are farmers. But we need to now to have a mindset to change the thinking of our young people, to see there's life in the agricultural sector. That's one. But number two, which is very critical, is logistic. Logistic connect every part of the agricultural sector. So when we talk of logistics, we are talking of areas that brings together transport. And when we talk logistics, we are talking of transport, we are talking of the warehouse, we are talking of the cold rooms, we are talking of the distribution system, we are talking of the digital infrastructure, we are talking of the last mile delivery, because that's where we are going to see a lot of opportunities. Now, the issue is how countries in Africa are well prepared and are designing and looking at their policies to allow reforms which are transformational, that will allow the young people to be able to see the opportunities. Because the World Bank report has said, okay, 2035, there will be this crisis. The question is, how are we prepared to make sure we put our house in order to allow our young people to see the opportunities? One, countries need to rethink what policy incentives they need to provide, what measures they need to do, and how these measures need to be coordinated to allow the infrastructure in place to bring in young people who will see the opportunities.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hildebrand Shayo, for the explanation that you have provided, and thank you so much for being part of TVC News tonight.
Okay, thank you.
On to the next story. The Muhimbili Orthopedic Institute, MOI, has officially launched a groundbreaking brain tumor surgery technology that allows doctors to operate without the opening of the skull. This advanced procedure is expected to reduce treatment time significantly and costs in the fight against cancer in Tanzania. Esther Deus has more details.
Previously, brain tumor surgeries could take up to 12 hours and required opening the skull. In some cases, patients experience severe complications, including paralysis and other neurological effects. Dr. Sibor, a neurosurgeon and spine specialist at MOI, explains how this new technology will revolutionize the whole sector and open new opportunities for medical tourism in Tanzania.
It's the doctor or the surgeon operating the brain to get the clear demarcation of the tumor, to get the tumor out without harming the normal cells of the brain. And this one reduces the adverse complications of the post-op complication, which could result into deficit, memory loss, or speech disturbances. This technology is very cheap. The fluorescence the one valve for the fluorescent is being valued at around $40 US, which is equivalent to like 100,000 150 Tanzanian. So it is very cheap. And then being cheap, it can be afforded by all the patients from within the country and outside the country. And for this matter, it can help even our neighbors from other neighboring countries, from Sub-Saharan Africa or from East Africa to come to Tanzania to seek for the medical attention.
On the other hand, Dr. Ran Ormond, an orthopedic surgeon from the University of Colorado in the United States of America, explains how the technology transfer partnership between MOI and the University of Colorado significantly improves brain tumor surgeries by reducing mortality rates in Tanzania.
Our collaboration with MOI has been long-standing. We've been working together for over a decade, and our projects go beyond the operating room and extend to the whole care of the patient. So we're working with the critical care team to improve the critical care management of patients after surgery, to improve the general ward management. We also do a lot of nursing education to improve nursing care for patients. And we're also working with rehabilitation to help improve patient recovery.
Behind me is a brain tumor removal taking place using a specific technology called fluorescence, where previously it didn't exist. And it comes at the right time where brain cancer cases are in the rise and advanced medical solutions are in need in the country. But despite just bringing solution on the side of solving brain cancer cases, but this technology will also inspire and foster healthcare tourism. Esther Deus, TBC News.
Thank you so much, Esther Deus, for that story. The Managing Director of Tanzania Petroleum Development Corporation, Musa Makame, says the East African crude oil pipeline project, upon completion by mid this year, is expected to transport up to 216,000 barrels of crude oil per day from Hoima, Uganda, to the Tanzanian port in Dar es Salaam, which will strengthen regional energy cooperation, create thousands of jobs, and boost government revenues in East African region.
The ECO project was designed to transport oil that was discovered in Western Uganda to the global market. So they need a pipeline, and which is being built now from Uganda to Tanga in Tanzania. The project has many benefits. For Uganda, it unlocks the value of their national resource. For Tanzania, it's an infrastructure project. So being part of it means we have a lot of jobs for our people. We have revenues coming in. We have opportunities for our local investors to provide services and goods to the project, but also technology and skills transfer, experiences in how to develop and operate major projects like this. So it has been very beneficial.
Furthermore, Mr. Makame highlights ongoing developments in the country's oil and gas sector. The government says Tanzania is making steady progress in strengthening the global competitiveness of its products in line with the goals of DIRA 2050. Speaking in an interview with TBC News, the country representative of Trademark Africa, Eliberi Kishami, says the country is on track in its transition from a raw material exporting economy to a more competitive manufacturing economy. He notes that ongoing industrialization initiatives, policy reforms, and increased investment in production capacity continue to align with Vision 2050.
It's a combination of multiple things. You're talking of products competitiveness in the global market, and this calls for number of things that needs to be integrated together. Number one, we're talking of the cost of the products, that meaning the final price of the product in the market. And if you talk of the final price of products in the market, you're actually talking of a lot of other things that comes at the input level. So you're talking at the technology you are using, the price of the technology you are using to produce. You are talking of the infrastructure you are using to produce. You are talking of the sourcing of the raw materials you are using to produce your final products. You're also talking of the skill set of your area of production. So if you want to influence the price, to be competitive price-wise in the global market, you need to address the factors related to these things. We usually call them supply-side constraints. Now, there are other factors related to competitiveness of product in the destination market. We call them demand-side constraints. And in terms of demand side now, they will be looking at things related to standards and quality. For instance, means if your products are inferior to other products coming from other countries, they will not be competitive in the market. And they might not even penetrate the market because there are quality and standards that are mandatory for your products to access a specific market.
He adds that sustained collaboration between the government and the private sector will be in accelerating the transformation and expanding Tanzania's footprint in international market. And now, before we wind up the local news for tonight, let's take a look at the exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT.
As to the
Sports news up next. And in sports news, Tanzania international athlete Gabriel Gayai says he's well prepared to come back with a gold medal in the Daegu Marathon, which is set to kick off in South Korea on the 22nd February this year. Gayai insists that the Daegu Marathon is a great global athletic platform, but highly competitive as it involves runners with excellent records. But he's ready to fight and bring back a medal.
Ushindani sio ushindani mdogo, ni ushindani mkubwa.
The competition is very higher because as we prepare for the big tournament like this, everybody is working harder accordingly to make sure that he is going to win the competition. But what is happening is that if I am better prepared than others, I will win the tournament. However, on my side, I am well prepared to win the race.
Mashindano kwa mimi naamini kwamba nitaenda kupambana na kufanya vizuri kwenye haya mashindano.
In the upcoming 2026 Daegu Marathon in South Korea, scheduled for February 22nd, 2026, the Tanzanian flag will indeed be represented. A strong elite trio, which will include the title holder Gabriel Gayai and others, Emmanuel Dindai and Bernard Gayai. And that is sports news. And now, before we conclude the news bulletin for tonight, let's take a look at the weather focus for the next 24 hours.
Hello, dear viewer. Welcome again to the next 24 hours of forecast, starting tonight at 9 p.m. I'm Ramadan Omari from Tanzania Meteorological Authority. Rainfall models are showing signal of rainfall over some areas of our country, especially along Lake Victoria Basin, central, west, towards southern part of our country. And tonight, areas along Lake Victoria Basin, northeastern highland, central, west, southwestern highland, Morogoro, and the Ruvuma are expected to feature partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over a few areas. Over the northern coast and the southern coast, we're expecting to feature partly cloudy condition. And tomorrow, areas along Lake Victoria Basin and the western part of our country are expected to feature cloudy condition, thunder showers over a few areas in sun intervals. Over the central, southwestern highland, Morogoro, and the Ruvuma region, we're expected to feature partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over a few areas in sun periods. On the northeastern highland, northern coast, and the southern coast, we are expecting to feature partly cloudy condition, rain showers over a few areas in sun periods. In terms of wind patterns, we're expecting wind to flow at a speed of 20 kilometers per hour, especially over Lake Tanganyika, Lake Nyasa, and the coastal areas. Over Lake Victoria and the Lake Irukwa, wind speed is expected to reach 10 kilometers per hour. In the state of the sea and lakes is expected to be slight. And now let's have a look on the next further forecast over some regions of our country. In Dar es Salaam, we're expecting to feature partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over few areas. Over Dodoma, we're expecting to feature partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over few areas. Over Mbeya, also, we're expecting to feature partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over few areas. In the Mwanza region, thunder showers is expected over few areas. Over Kilimanjaro, we're expecting to feature partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over few areas. Over Morogoro, we're expecting to feature partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over few areas. And in Arusha, we're expecting to feature partly cloudy condition, thunder showers over few areas. And that is all for today. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
And that marks the end of the news bulletin for tonight. Don't miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. On behalf of the whole team, I am Caroline Maleo, wishing you a blessed night.
Ni muda wa kukutana na wadau kutoka taasisi mbalimbali za umma na binafsi. Mkutano wa Washitiri 2026 utafanyika jijini Arusha kuanzia tarehe 23 hadi tarehe 27 Machi